guys. Ow, my nose! Marcia! Stop! You okay? You hurt? I'm really sorry.
Everybody sings, so happy today.
Here's the thing about 1969. America was walking on the moon, Woodstock was making history, and somehow, in the middle of all this cultural revolution, ABC decided to bet on a wholesome story about a blended family with perfect hair. The Brady Bunch premiered on September 26, 1969.
Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch.
And nobody, not even creator Sherwood Schwartz, could have predicted its eventual impact on American pop culture. The show landed in a television landscape dominated by rural comedies like Green Acres and fantastical sitcoms like Bewitched. But Schwartz had a different vision. He spotted a small newspaper article noting that 30% of marriages involved children from previous relationships. That single statistic sparked what would become television's most famous blended family. ABC wasn't initially thrilled about the concept. The network had its doubts about a show centered on remarriage and step-siblings, topics that were still somewhat taboo for primetime television. The pilot, originally titled Yours and Mine, was actually passed on by all three major networks before ABC finally took a chance on it. The show's first season struggled in the ratings, landing in 77th place out of 96 shows. The production budget was modest even by 1960s standards, with each episode costing around $70,000 to produce. But something interesting happened. While critics dismissed it as overly simplistic and unrealistic, families across America started tuning in, especially young viewers who would become the show's core audience. The Brady Bunch aired on Friday nights at 8 p.m., a time slot that would prove crucial to its success. While it never cracked the Nielsen Top 30 during its original run, it found its real success in syndication, where it would play after school for generations of kids. Those early ratings struggles, they wouldn't matter in the long run. The Brady Bunch was playing a much longer game than anyone realized in that tumultuous year of 1969.
All right, now, say the word.
Sailboat!
Television production in the late 1960s was undergoing a technical revolution, and the Brady Bunch pushed several boundaries despite its conventional appearance. The show's most recognizable technical achievement was its innovative use of the split-screen opening credits. Those famous 9 boxes weren't just a cute gimmick, they were a masterclass in precise timing and color coordination that would become one of TV's most parodied sequences. Paramount Stage 5 housed the show's primary sets, but it was the Brady house that became the star of the production design. Set decorator Frank Esposito created an interior that defined upper-middle-class 1970s aesthetics, from that iconic floating staircase to the orange Formica kitchen counters and the family room's fake grass carpeting. Interestingly, while the exterior shot of the Brady house was a real home in Studio City, California, the window arrangement didn't match the interior set layout at all. The show pioneered several technical innovations in family sitcom production. Director John Rich established a multi-camera setup that could effectively capture the interactions of 9 main characters, no small feat when 6 of them were children with limited attention spans. The production team used 4 cameras simultaneously, compared to the standard 3 of most sitcoms, allowing for more dynamic group scenes and fewer retakes. Color television was still relatively new, and the Brady Bunch embraced it fully. The costume department, led by Winnie Dodson, coordinated the wardrobe to pop on color TV sets. Those pastel shirts and vibrant patterns weren't just fashion choices, they were deliberately selected to take advantage of advancing television technology. Even the artificial turf in the backyard was chosen specifically because natural grass appeared brown on color TV. But perhaps the most remarkable technical achievement was something viewers never noticed: the sound engineering. Recording clean audio with 6 excited child actors was a constant challenge. The sound department developed new techniques for mic placement and pioneered the use of boom operators who could quickly move between speaking characters without casting shadows, a technique that would become standard in television production. The magic of the Brady Bunch wasn't just in its concept, it was in the remarkable chemistry of its cast, starting with the perfect pairing of Florence Henderson and Robert Reed. Henderson brought a warmth to Carol Brady that made her more than just a traditional TV mom, while Reed, despite his famous behind-the-scenes creative conflicts, gave Mike Brady a dignity that set him apart from the bumbling father figures common in sitcoms of the era. Henderson had actually never done a TV series before, having come from a Broadway background, which brought a unique theatrical polish to her performance. Ann B. Davis's Alice was far more than comic relief. Her character bridged the gap between the parents and children, and Davis brought a depth to the role that made Alice feel like a genuine member of the family, rather than just the help. Her impeccable timing and physical comedy skills elevated every scene she was in, especially her running gag romance with Sam the Butcher, played by Alan Melvin. Davis, a two-time Emmy winner for her work on The Bob Cummings Show, initially thought the role would be a step down, but ended up creating one of TV's most beloved characters.
Oh, how'd you get the key?
Well, it's a duplicate. This is my husband's office, Mr. Michael Brady.
The child actors were discovered through an exhaustive casting process that saw over 1,200 kids. Barry Williams, Maureen McCormick, and Christopher Knight as the Brady Boys, alongside Eve Plum, Susan Olsen, and the late Mike Lookinland as the Brady Girls, managed to capture authentic sibling dynamics, despite not being related. Their real-life age gaps were much smaller than their characters, allowing them to grow up together both on and off screen. Behind the scenes, the young cast dealt with typical teenage dramas that never made it to screen. Barry Williams had a well-documented crush on Florence Henderson, while he and Maureen McCormick dated briefly during the later seasons. Christopher Knight struggled with severe stage fright early in the series, which the production team helped him overcome through patient directing and carefully structured scenes. Some of the show's most memorable performances came in episodes that let individual cast members shine. Christopher Knight's Peter dealing with his changing voice in Do Re Mi, Maureen McCormick's Marcia facing confidence issues after her nose injury in the famous Oh My Nose episode, and Eve Plum's Jan confronting middle child syndrome with her Marcia, Marcia, Marcia breakdown all became iconic moments in television history. The cast faced unique acting challenges too. The show's wholesome nature meant they had to make relatively minor problems seem like major crises while keeping performances believable. Whether it was Greg's crisis over joining a fraternity, Peter's struggle with his changing voice, or Bobby's safety patrol responsibilities.
Maybe we should be looking for fingerprints on a lock and box. Good idea! We could use my fingerprint kit.
The young actors had to find emotional truth in stories that could have easily become cartoonish. The young cast faced unique challenges, having to maintain their academic studies while filming. They attended school for 3 hours each day in between takes, with scenes often shot out of sequence to accommodate their learning schedules. This led to some continuity challenges, particularly as the kids went through growth spurts during filming seasons. Their teacher, Mrs. Whitfield, became an unofficial on-set parent, helping them balance their educational requirements with their acting duties. Robert Reed's contribution to the show was complex. Despite his frequent conflicts with creator Sherwood Schwartz over script quality, his classical training brought gravitas to Mike Brady that grounded the show. Reed, a Shakespearean-trained actor who had starred in The Defenders, often pushed for more realistic storylines and character development, though his suggestions were rarely implemented. Florence Henderson's Carol Brady set a new standard for TV moms. Unlike the more traditional maternal figures of the era, Carol had a career, shared equal parenting responsibilities with Mike, and maintained her own identity beyond being a mother. Henderson infused the role with subtle moments of humor and wisdom that influenced how future family sitcoms would portray mothers. The Brady Bunch's journey through television history is a fascinating story of a show that found its true audience long after its original run. During its 5 seasons from 1969 to 1974, the show underwent subtle but significant changes, The first season established the core dynamics, but by season 2, the writers began exploring more complex family situations and giving each character more distinct personality traits. The transition between seasons revealed interesting shifts in the show's focus. Early episodes centered heavily on the challenges of blending two families, but as the series progressed, the stories evolved to tackle more universal teenage issues. The later seasons notably took more risks. Remember the infamous Hawaii episodes with the cursed tiki idol? Or the dramatic Cincinnati Kids episode filmed at Kings Island Amusement Park. These location shoots marked a significant departure from the show's usual home-based stories.
Well, the ironing's all put away. Oh, and I fixed the knees on Greg's blue jeans.
Alice, your day off started hours ago.
Syndication transformed the Brady Bunch from a modest primetime performer into a cultural phenomenon. Starting in 1975, the show began airing daily in after-school time slots, reaching a whole new generation of viewers. The repetition of episodes actually worked in the show's favor. Fans began noticing subtle details, like the ever-changing Peter, Christopher Knight, whose height seemed to vary episode by episode due to out-of-sequence filming. The show spawned numerous spin-offs and revivals, each with varying degrees of success. The Brady Bunch Hour, 1976 to 77, remains one of television's most bizarre experiments, a variety show featuring synchronized swimming and musical numbers. The Brady Brides, 1981, attempted to update the formula by following Marcia and Jan into married life. A Very Brady Christmas, 1988, reunited most of the original cast and became one of the highest-rated TV movies of the year. Behind the scenes, the show faced interesting production challenges. By the final season, the actors were outgrowing their roles, literally and figuratively. Eve Plum and Maureen McCormick were clearly young women, not little girls, and Barry Williams was notably taller than Robert Reed. The infamous absence of Robert Reed from the series finale, due to a script dispute, marked a fitting end to a show that always struggled to balance its idealized family image with real-world complications. Some fascinating trivia emerged over the years. Tiger, the family dog, died early in season 1 and was quietly replaced. The AstroTurf backyard was installed because real grass couldn't survive under the intense studio lights. Florence Henderson often had to crouch or stand in a ditch to appear shorter than Robert Reed. The iconic house used for exterior shots became such a tourist attraction that its real owners built a high fence to maintain their privacy. The Brady Bunch's influence on American culture extends far beyond its original 5-season run. While shows like All in the Family were tackling serious social issues in the 1970s, the Brady Bunch created an idealized version of family life that, paradoxically, has proven more enduring. Its impact on popular culture can still be felt today, more than 50 years after its premiere. The show pioneered the concept of the successful blended family on television. Before the Bradys, stepfamilies were rarely portrayed positively in popular media. While critics at the time dismissed the show as unrealistic, its optimistic approach to family challenges provided a blueprint that influenced shows from Step by Step to Modern Family. The Brady Bunch showed that family bonds aren't limited by blood relations. Its cultural footprint has only grown with time. The 1995 satirical film, The Brady Bunch Movie, proved the show's enduring relevance by contrasting the family's 1970s values with 1990s cynicism. The film's success spawned 2 sequels and demonstrated how deeply the original series was embedded in American pop culture. Phrases like Marcia, 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 and something suddenly came up have become part of our collective vocabulary.
Marcia, Marcia, Marcia!
The show's influence extends into unexpected areas. The Brady House floor plan has become so iconic that architectural students study it. The distinctive grid opening credits have been parodied countless times, from the Hollywood squares to Family Guy. Even the fashion has come full circle, with the show's early 1970s aesthetic regularly inspiring retro fashion trends. From a modern perspective, The Brady Bunch represents something increasingly rare in our fragmented media landscape, a truly cross-generational viewing experience. While the show's portrayal of family life may seem quaint by today's standards, its core themes about sibling rivalry, parent-child relationships, and family unity continue to resonate. In an era of complex anti-hero dramas and edgy comedies, there's something almost revolutionary about the Brady's earnest optimism. Today, the show's legacy lives on through streaming platforms, introducing new generations to the Brady family. While modern viewers might chuckle at the dated situations and fashion choices, they're still drawn to the show's underlying warmth and sincerity. In our increasingly complex world, the simple lessons and wholesome solutions of the Brady Bunch provide a kind of comfort food for the soul. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the Brady Bunch's legacy is how it has transcended its original status as a moderate hit to become a cultural touchstone. It's not just a TV show anymore. It's a shorthand for an ideal of American family life, both celebrated and satirized, but never forgotten. The Brady Bunch reminds us that while families may not be perfect, they can still be perfectly wonderful. The Brady Bunch wasn't just a TV show. It was a cultural phenomenon that defined an era and continues to influence how we think about family today. Whether you grew up watching the original airings, caught the reruns after school, or discovered it through streaming, the Brady family has a way of making everyone feel like part of their extended TV family. If you enjoyed this deep dive into television history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. We're always exploring fascinating stories behind your favorite classic shows. Ring that notification bell to stay updated on new uploads every week.